Hey everyone, welcome back to your group. Over the last few weeks, we have been talking about spiritual formation and developing practices that help us connect with Jesus. Today, I want to begin to shift your conversations toward how those practices can influence the relationships that you are building here, and what you can realistically expect your relationships to look like over time. We have talked some already about how spiritual formation doesn't always happen quickly, and that it also doesn't happen automatically. We need to be consistently intentional with the way that we live in order to become like Jesus. When it comes to building community, the same thing is true. Most relationships that are truly meaningful take time to build and require intentionality to grow. With the way that our culture operates today, that can be difficult to keep in mind. I can follow someone on social media without actually ever interacting with them face to face. And I can join a group online without anyone knowing who I am. I can order food and have it delivered to my doorstep without ever having to interact with another human being. And I can do all of that in just a few minutes. Now, there is tremendous value in today's culture and the technology that is available to us. But I think it would be naive to say that it hasn't affected the way that we interact with our world and how our expectations about those things should actually happen. I don't think any of us would say that we expect a friendship to form as quickly as an Amazon delivery driver can deliver a package. But this fast-paced, disconnected way of life has absolutely affected how we engage with people and what we expect from people in relationships. There are tons of scientific studies now showing how technology interferes with all kinds of relationships, calling it technoference. And yet we need community. We were made for it. And there is a difference between a club and a community. I can join a club immediately, but true community takes time to build. There are so many books, both Christian and secular, that speak to our need for community and belonging. And one that I think is worth recommending is called Find Your People by Jenny Allen. She describes 3 types of relationships: acquaintances, close friends, which she refers to as your inner circle, and then a group in between those two, which she would say is your village. Now, most people have plenty of acquaintances, but far fewer people say that they have the quantity or quality of close inner circle friends that they actually desire. A large part of the problem is that because of the way that our culture operates, we don't practically need that middle step, the village. Historically, you couldn't get by without having a village of people around you. If you think back 100 or 200 years, you had to exist in a community where each person contributed to something to the others that lived around them, and it was rare to even get outside of your literal village. That is not true today. And so if you're like me, the idea of building community can feel a bit foreign, even if it's really what your heart wants and desires. In the same book, a study cited that it takes 50 hours with a person to move them from your acquaintance to someone in your village, and 200 hours for someone to move from your village into your inner circle. So now let's put that context into your group that you're in right now. If you meet every week and never miss, it could still take you over a year to even feel like the people in your group are more than just acquaintances, like they are truly involved in a meaningful way in your life. Now, knowing all of that can be really helpful in just managing your expectations and solidifying your commitment with this group. See, our hope is that this group can kind of be your village for you, a group of people who can't all become your closest friends, but who truly know you and are able to bring real substance and meaning and joy to your life. So much of what God promises us in community simply takes time to develop and experience. But there are a few things we can do to help that process along. You see, the first thing that you can do is just to be intentional. You have to put forth the effort. In this kind of community, it's not automatic. Again, most of us aren't used to that kind of community that we're describing, where we intentionally seek to become like Jesus together. In order to experience something that you've never experienced, you need to be willing to do something that you've never done before. You'll have to listen to one another well. You might have to discuss things that you don't care about, or even participate in things that you're actually not really interested in, or do something that helps someone else connect with Jesus, even if it's not how you would best connect with him. Meaningful relationships require sacrifice. So together, let's make the decision to do what it takes to move toward Jesus in community. The second thing you can do is just to be honest. You see, one of the greatest rewards in this kind of community is finding a way to be truly and fully known, yet still fully loved at the same time. All of your flaws and shortcomings can be in the light, and yet you aren't rejected or thought of less. No amount of time can make up for the lack of vulnerability. You have to be willing to open up and let yourself actually be seen. This means not just confessing the bad things you do, but letting other people see your emotions, your desires, your disappointments, and your fears. It means being honest about when this group or the people in it haven't met your expectations. It means being okay with conflict from time to time, because you understand that everyone here is committed to practicing the fruit of the Spirit, practicing patience and grace, forgiving one another. Honesty is the key to learning how to relate to others well in that way. The last thing I'll suggest is for you to be consistent. You'll have to prioritize this group in order for it to become a place where you feel relationally connected and safe, and where you're actually experiencing spiritual formation. At times, this means saying no to some other things so that you can say yes to the people in the room with you right now. And when there are bumps in the road, we all have to agree just to give each other some grace. That doesn't mean that you can't ever miss a week or that you can never be part of another group down the road. It simply means that we are prioritizing one another, and we are committing to work together through different situations while we're in community with one another. Remember, one of the benefits of a community group like this that is long-term is that we will make mistakes. We will miss it sometimes. And the point is that we are consistently coming back to one another. We're being honest about our experiences and intentionally working together to become more like Jesus. And while it may take time, the reward of that kind of community is worth sticking around for.